Hello, listeners. Before we start, I just want to remind you you can listen to Nighttime early and ad free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Handsome Aaron Airport, we're deep into this. This is episode 173 of Keep Canada Weird, our weekly weird news roundup where we round up, celebrate, cringe, maybe roll our eyes at the week's unique and offbeat Canadian news stories. But before we get to this week's episode and this week's stories, let me ask, how you doing over there?
I have a lot to talk about. My personal and professional life.
Okay.
Is this the platform to get into this?
Let's start with personal life. What's going on?
Well, my personal life, I've started an improv comedy group.
Okay. So let's plug it right off the bat here. Let me guess, you got an upcoming show?
Yeah.
Wild. Okay. When is it?
Yeah, August 21st. So I just want to plant the seed in the listeners' ears who are in the vicinity of Cape Breton Island and are looking for something to do in Sydney, Nova Scotia. August 21st at the Red Barn in Sydney River, I think it is.
Okay. Because I said start with your personal life. It sure sounds like this is your professional life because I'm guessing people have to buy tickets for this event.
Yeah, well, it's actually part of the Cape Breton Comedy Festival. So if you want tickets to the show on August 21st, you go to the Cape Breton Comedy Festival website and you can purchase tickets there along with their other fantastic shows that they have lined up.
Okay, so this is your personal news. I can't imagine what your professional news is. Well, let's save it.
I'll just say this.
Okay, say it.
Okay, I'll save it. No, actually, I'm not going to have a choice because it relates very much to the top of the show.
Okay.
But it directly affects my professional life involving Keep Canada Weird, and I'm very upset about something.
I'm not going to guess what it could be.
Okay, well, just continue on as normal, and it's going to come at you very soon.
Okay. In honor of the passing of the legend, Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, one of my lifelong idols, tonight my special drink is black tea.
Black tea. Okay. Yeah, that's a good...
Oh, it's hard.
Careful.
It's hard to drink.
Yeah.
I usually put milk and sweetener in it, but yeah, it's black tonight for Ozzy.
Yeah.
Fly high, you legend. What do you got for a special drink, Aaron?
That's the professional news that I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
So I went for my walk today, after work. Went for my walk, and then I'm going to go to the grocery store, going to grab something to eat, and I'm going to pick out a special drink. So I did find a special drink. I only had it once on the show before, and I remembered it. It was quite a while ago, and I was like, oh, I really enjoyed that when I had it. I'm going to get it again. And it was a Zevia hibiscus tea, sugar-free, caffeine-free. I had it once on the show before. It was delicious, and I wanted to have it again as my special drink tonight. So I buy it, and I am a ritual date checker. I'm always checking the dates on everything that I buy.
Oh, God, I see where this is going.
And for some reason, I didn't check the date on this can. With canned things, I'm not always on top of checking the dates. I assume that there's still another 3 years left on this thing. So I buy the canned drink, and I go and I pay for my food, and I get into the car, and I'm stopped at a light, and I'm like, I never checked the date on that can. Let me check right now. And I look underneath the can, and sure enough, the date said April 22nd, 2025.
There are two types of people. People who read it as best before April of 2025, and people who read it as poison after April of 2025. For me, a best before person, I wouldn't even bat an eye at that. I'd crack it open and assume it's 2% less fresh as it would have been had it been within that ideal period.
Right.
Are you someone who's like, no, this will kill me if I drink it because it's a day later?
I know that I'd be fine if I drank it. I know that.
just open it. If you have it there, just open it. There's going to be no difference.
It's in my car. I didn't even have the heart to bring it inside.
Do you want we can pause the show if you want to run and get it. Because I'm telling you, you would never notice. It's all in your head, man.
I know it's over.
Okay.
It's over. I'm angry about it. I'm too upset to enjoy. I wouldn't be able to enjoy it. It would be, I know it wouldn't hurt me. I know that. I know it's a best before date. It's not an expiry date. It's not a poison date. I just can't enjoy a drink when I know that that date has come and gone. If it was a week or two, I probably would have let it slide. But several months, I'm like, you know what?
Too far?
Come on.
Yeah. It's a shame you do that to yourself because it's unnecessary, I'm sure. Different if it's a meat product or something like that. But whatever. Hopefully you got a nice glass of water or something to get us through this. This whole experience with, you do have water in your hand. This whole experience with the best before date, poison after date, ruining your special drink, that probably affects your happiness. Not even probably, I'm sure it does. And I want to open the show with a little discussion about happiness. I happened upon a survey that was recently released. It's the Ledger Canadian Happiness Survey. This is a survey that happens each year. The 2025 version was recently released. It's a survey that aims to understand how Canadians perceive their happiness. And this year's survey was based on responses from nearly 40,000 adults across the country. They were surveyed between March 31st and April 13th. We have the results in. Let me just ask you, knowing everything you know about Canada, which province would you say is the happiest province in Canada?
If I had to guess without looking at the list,
it's surprising, I'll tell you.
I'd say PEI.
That's funny you say that. It isn't PEI. What made you think possibly Prince Edward Island? Just because it's a quiet, like nothing seems to ever go wrong in PEI.
Yeah, it's a quaint little province with wonderful colors and Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah, well, surprise. PEI is actually lowest. PEI is the saddest province in Canada. Only 68% of people who took the survey in PEI were happy. The happiest province is what I would have guessed was the most unhappy, Quebec. 72% happiness rating.
Wow, okay.
So does that surprise you? Because you often, maybe it's just we're tainted by the English media we generally would consume. But in my mind, Quebec seems to often have problems with stuff. Like there always seems to be some dispute between like rules and laws in Quebec and the rest of Canada and all this stuff. It just, the reputation for Quebecers is that they're kind of like a cranky, hard-nosed bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem to be what the survey shows.
No, it doesn't. The proof is in the pudding for sure.
Nova Scotia is right in the middle. We're both in Nova Scotia. They score 5th on the survey of the happiest provinces. And there is a kind of sister or brother survey to this that is called the World Happiness Report. And that does the same kind of thing, gauges happiness, but it does it per country. The happiest country was Finland this year in 2025. Canada placed 18th, but probably no surprise, we're above America. They were 24th happiest country in the world.
Well, the Finland thing doesn't surprise me. You always hear of Finland being a wonderful place to live.
Yeah, Finland and Sweden and like Czech.
Sweden, that whole little area there seems to really have it figured out.
Yeah, it just seems like when this comes out, why doesn't everyone just move to those? Like if it's statistically you're happier there, like why would you just not move there? I guess I didn't consider it. And then some provinces and countries, they'll also track like average lifespan. Wouldn't it make sense to just move to the place that has the longest lifespan?
Mm-hmm. Maybe. But if you're starting off late, like you and I are completely riddled with processed food and the weight of the world. So if we were to move there now, we're too far behind. It's over for us. Yeah.
They wouldn't even allow us in. We'd screw their numbers up.
No, they'd scan us and be like, whoa, no, not a chance.
No. We got stats to keep. Before we get into this week's story, I want to do what we always do, start the show with a voicemail, and then I'll introduce the stories. This voicemail comes from a listener named Trevor. He's a proud member of something that I'm calling the Keep Canada Weird Rat Patrol. You remember in last week's episode, we celebrated, along with the province of Alberta, their 75th year rat-free?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the surprising but amazing claims to fame for a Canadian province. Trevor heard our conversation celebrating his province's 75th rat-free year. He wanted to give us a bit of a glimpse behind the curtain because he's one of the brave folks that are actually fighting the rat infestation in Alberta.
This is your rat marine Trevor / correspondent here in Alberta. I was listening to your most recent episode where you're talking about Alberta being rat-free again. And it just so happens I was monitoring for them today at our local landfill. We've been monitoring all summer. We have 50 traps set up there to monitor for them. We're watching because there's the garbage being imported to that landfill is coming from a place that is known to have rats. The province is taking care of that other situation, so thankfully our job has been relatively easy, but we've been out there every week so far this summer to monitor. So yeah, that's pretty cool that there's a whole network of people out here watching for rats, literally from the mountains to the Saskatchewan border, and from the northern, from Fort McMurray at the oil sands all the way south to the American border. Great job on the podcast, guys. I love listening to it every week. Thanks.
Tip of my imaginary hat to Trevor. It's cool that we talked about that, and one of the people actually keeping Alberta rat-free was listening along as we did. That's pretty neat.
It's really cool. And Trevor, I invite you to come to Nova Scotia and give us a hand over here because
we could really use some help.
We're covered head to toe in rats over here.
You know what? I recently rescued a dog. Her name is Penny. She has a great nose and she definitely has an interest in rats. We were out for a walk maybe a week ago and she was very interested in this one particular bush. And I was like, yanking her, like, come on, let's go, Penny. And she just wouldn't stop. And then wouldn't stop pulling towards it. And then all of a sudden I saw a little rat scurry. And I thought, if I let this leash go, there'd be one less rat in Nova Scotia. I didn't do it though, because I didn't want to wipe rat off my puppy's face. Mm-hmm. With that thought on your mind, let's get to tonight's stories. We got a whole bunch of weird Canadian news from the past week. We're going to be hearing about Teslas. We'll attend a funeral for a tree. We have the story of a missing cat, and then we'll celebrate the man who may be the best employee ever to retire from a grocery store in Canada, Mr. Rob Robinson. We'll get to those stories after this short break. Handsome Air and Airport, it's not often we get to talk here about automobiles, and especially not often that we get to talk about a vehicle as controversial and divisive as the Tesla automobile. And if you see a Tesla in the news, generally nowadays, it seems to be a story of vandalism, right?
Yeah, or protest of some kind. Ever since Elon Musk had aligned himself with Lord Trump, then it certainly has changed the public's viewpoint of Teslas.
Yeah, well, I didn't choose this story to try to change that conversation. This is a story involving a Tesla possibly saving a 67-year-old Quebec man's life, but it's also the story of a 67-year-old Quebec man taking an unexpected swim. It's a great time of the year to go swimming, but not in this way. In Quebec, a 67-year-old man and his Tesla vehicle had a swim when his car rolled off a ferry and plunged into the Rivière des Prairies. Fortunately, the driver, who was once a lifeguard, managed to escape the whole thing unharmed, but his electric car, the Tesla, turns out Teslas can't swim. Here's the story of that Tesla falling off the ferry in Quebec.
The current in the Rivière des Prairies around Laval-sur-le-Lac is notoriously strong. It's why Laval resident Michael Demarine says he's lucky.
And being a lifeguard when I was 25 years old, for that reason, and only that reason, I'm still alive today.
Last Wednesday afternoon, he took his car on the ferry crossing from Ile-Bizarre to Laval on his way home from playing golf. As the ferry docked on the Laval side, he tried to drive off, but something went wrong.
My front tires made it, but my back tires fell.
Between the ferry and the dock, The ferry operator pulled away, the marinist recalls, to help him.
And it only made the matter even worse. And once he seen that, he then tried to pick up the car with the ferry to lift it back onto the platform.
But the ferry began crushing the car, making it dangerous for the marinist. Then things got even worse.
That's when the car completely let go and was able to fall into Rivière-des-Prairies.
The strong current began taking the car downstream with the 57-year-old inside.
Get out, get out, get out!
According to him, he was able to get out only because the car, a Tesla, automatically lowers the windows when submerged in water.
I was swimming, and swimming with these type of currents and drafts that are in there is almost impossible. Even the best swimmer in the world won't make it across.
The former lifeguard says he allowed the current to take him downstream where he washed up on shore and someone helped him. He was taken to hospital unharmed. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada is investigating.
It's long to take to do an investigation.
The marinist believes the ferry was not properly secured to the dock. And though someone did try to save him as he swam for his life, he wonders if the ferry crew are properly trained for emergencies.
Nobody knew what to do. They didn't know nothing. I mean, they were just screaming and panic. And
he wants changes to ensure this never happens again and has not ruled out legal action.
Ooh, that's a messy situation. I loved getting the ferry. I always enjoyed driving my vehicle on a boat and traveling over a body of water with my vehicle in a boat. For example, like I'm going from Nova Scotia to Prince Edward Island. Taking the ferry's cool. I've never had a bad experience like this. I've never heard of anything like this happening. We should probably describe what actually happened for people who haven't seen the video, because the video does give a lot of, like as they're explaining it, and you can see it happening. It makes a bit more sense than just the audio. Do you think you can talk through it, or do you want me to get the play-by-play?
Well, correct me if I miss anything, but the ferry, which had docked, and then, you know, whatever gate opens or whatever, and the car was driving on, his front two wheels were on the land, but then all of a sudden, as he drove forward, the back end of his vehicle started going into the water. So
yeah, and that's right. So it was kind of like his front was on the land, the back wheels were in the water somehow.
Yeah.
But what really got it complicated was the ferry operator tried to help by like lowering kind of like the bridge that allows you to drive onto the ferry. He kind of lowered it to try to push the car up onto the dry land to get it out of the water. But in doing so, he started to like crush the car and pull the car down into the water. So that was bad. But then to make matters even worse is this body of water has like a heavy current. It's like a raging river pretty much. So that pulled the car into the water. So when you watch this video, you hear people screaming. You see the 67-year-old man in his car with his door open with the Tesla just flowing down the river. But luckily the guy could swim and managed to get out of there. But that's not how I want to swim.
no, the thing that surprised me the most about this story was the feature in the Teslas where the windows will automatically roll themselves down if the car is submerged in water.
Yeah, like a bit of a fail-safe. That's a good idea. That's a good design feature, because it's something you hear about a lot. You get trapped in a flood or your car goes into water and you got to break the windows and stuff. Having the Tesla automatically open the windows, that's a cool idea. I like that.
I like it a lot. It makes me.
But I'm hesitant to say anything positive about a Tesla.
Are we gonna, crap on the cars because of the political, dealings of the owner of the company?
Even without the political stuff connected to those cars, the Cybertruck is so ugly.
I agree. The Cybertruck is dumb, but the Tesla itself is a fine electric vehicle, is it not?
I don't know. I've never driven one. And when you look at them on the street, they don't look, other than the Cybertruck, they just fit in like every other car.
Right.
Like I like the idea of an electric vehicle, but it also bothers me the sound of them. You can really hear like a when there's an electric vehicle as opposed to like a gas engine.
You prefer a vroom, vroom? Is that
yeah,
what you
like being
want?
a man's man.
Oh,
yeah, being like kind
okay.
of like,
That's I'm the opposite. I love how quiet they are. I love how clean they are. The only thing that keeps me from getting an electric vehicle is the infrastructure just isn't there yet.
Mm.
I travel to Halifax a lot for work and for pleasure, and that's a 4.5 hour drive. I can't own two cars, one for driving long distances and one for just bombing around the city. So
it's like a lifestyle thing. Where I'm in Halifax, I do a lot of drives just around the city that are short. And like an electric car would actually be pretty sweet for my lifestyle. But when I do travel, like going to Cape Breton, a 5 hour drive, I wouldn't want to take an electric car for that. Unless the battery could last. And even if the battery could last, I'd still be so hesitant and worry about it. Like, I don't even like going out if my cell phone is at like 50%. I'm like, I got to stay home until this is under control.
Right. It's still on its way. I mean, as the technology improves, faster charging batteries, more charging stations, because that's the issue. If you got to charge while you're on the road, you can't sit there for 2 hours while you're getting enough charge to make it home. It's just not practical for long distance driving, but it's great if you're just driving it around the city and you bring it home and then you plug it in again.
Yeah. And you'll always know that were you to fall into a body of water, it would automatically roll down its windows.
For that reason alone is enough to buy a Tesla, I think. Disregarding all of the political and ideological issues or surrounding it, it's a great car.
I wouldn't even, if someone gave me one, I wouldn't even drive it. The first thing I would do would be to sell it.
Really? For
For me, it's impossible to separate the connection between all the political stuff.
You can't separate the art from the artist. So if you had a band that you loved and their music was incredible, but then you found out that they voted this way or they think this way about that, like they didn't break the law. But they just—
You're not talking about Kid Rock, obviously.
Yeah, well, Uncle Cracker is who I'm talking about.
I can separate the art from the artist because I still love Hulk Hogan.
You love Hulk Hogan.
Is this fair?
I don't know. Why do you love him?
I don't know. Let's move on. This story about the man in Quebec who managed to survive falling off the ferry. I'm glad you made it out alive, sir. I hope insurance replaces your car. I hope it's never vandalized because people assume that you're very supportive of the politics of the owner of that company. And to the ferry operators, I hope they get to the bottom of what caused this to happen and prevent it from ever happening again. Apparently, this ferry has a long reputation of high safety protocol that's never had an incident before. Let's keep it that way, Quebec. The people down there are happy. Don't dump them into the pond in their cars.
You're right. We got a little too into the weeds there over the politics of Teslas. And I just like to state for the record before we move on that, I'm not an Elon Musk guy. I just think the Tesla is a fine automobile. That's all.
Okay.
That's all.
I don't like any cars. I have an old car that my grandfather gave me before he passed away, and I'll drive that thing into the ground. And in my mind, it's the best car in the world because it has an association with one of my favorite people, Papa Eddie.
Nice.
Let's move on to another story. This one, I think, may be the story of the night. When I have a story that I feel this way about, I often push it to the end, but I want to get right into it here. We'll just call this story, What Tree? A Toronto developer is under fire after cutting down a beloved honey locust tree without a permit. Despite a city-approved building plan that had changes meant specifically to preserve the tree, the neighbors are outraged, and the city officials have launched an investigation into what some are calling a blatant case of gaming the system. Here's the story of the tree in Toronto that the developer doesn't seem to even think was there in the first place.
Protect the trees. That is the message on this development notice in Leaside. But the 80-year-old honey locust that once towered over this property has been reduced to roots. Now, the city told the developer they could not cut the tree down, but neighbors say they did it anyway.
This is highly disappointing.
It was a lovely old tree. It did provide shade for the neighborhood.
It just gave that corner a little bit of character.
Residents say they understand the need for development here, but they're devastated by the loss of the tree.
The tree was taken down. People were crying.
The local city councilor says the city even made concessions to the developer, allowing them to build closer to the street in order to keep the tree intact. Since you guys worked with the developer in order to allow them to push the building up further on the property to protect that tree, and then they kind of go behind your back, how does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me really angry because I feel like we were taken advantage of, and I feel like what appears to have happened is that they gamed the system, really, for their own benefit.
We called Mod City to ask them about removing the tree. They said there was never a tree there. Neighbors, the city councilor, they're all telling us that you chopped the tree down.
No, that didn't happen.
Where'd the tree go?
What tree?
The fines for cutting down a tree without a permit can be up to $100,000, but the councilor says that may not be enough to deter developers compared to the millions of dollars in properties at stake.
We do worry that they maybe factor that into the cost of doing business.
I hate to laugh at his response, but what tree? He was so clearly playing dumb on that phone call. What tree?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's what are you gonna again? $100,000 is not a lot of money to these developers. They're just gonna steamroll whatever's in front of them, build whatever they want, and it's more of a. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission. And they're not even going to ask for forgiveness. They're just going to do it.
Especially if they know that it's $100,000 fine. That's not a lot of money when you're developing a building, like an apartment complex or something like that. If this tree is gone and you can add 3 more parking spots, that probably pays for itself in a couple years. Or if you can, beyond that, if you can add something that you can rent out, like maybe it gives you a bit more room for another unit or something like that, then yeah, $100,000 for sure. That's just the price of doing business. With these developers, they spend so much money to get things rolling, and they make it up over 20, 25 years or whatever the case may be. What the city needs to do is reconsider the fines for, doing something like this, because you can't replant that tree when it's chopped down.
No, the tree is done. It's done. It's over for the tree. And that's the heartbreaking part of the story is the tree is gone. It's not coming back. And these developers will suffer little to no consequences. There'll be the smallest little slap on the wrist that they won't even notice. And they'll make millions of dollars doing this. And it's criminal.
Yeah, actually, I have the article in front of me here as we're talking, and I think I got it right. I said like having the tree gone may allow them to have a couple more parking spots. It turns out that just 8 days after they illegally cut down the tree, the developer applied to the city to install a parking pad where the tree once stood.
Right.
So they actually are applying to have extra parking where the tree would have been. So certainly they're like, yeah, that's $100,000. It's well worth it. All we got to pay is $100,000 to get rid of that tree, and we can put in our parking pad. I'm thinking a parking pad. Could that mean like a multi-level parking thing?
I'm not sure what a parking pad is. I was envisioning a very cushy pad that cars will go up on, and it's comfortable for them.
Yeah, it could be what it is. But it sucks. Like an old tree, a large, majestic tree that adds so much character to a community. And as our cities are growing and green space is disappearing, I think we need to hug what large trees we have. Although they can be a nuisance at times, the shade they provide is priceless. And the feeling of being in nature is also priceless. Shame on you, developer, but also shame on the city for not having appropriate punishments to prevent this kind of behavior.
So you say that sometimes trees can be nuisance. What are some examples of trees being a nuisance?
Okay. If they are over your house and there's too much shade on your roof, you get like moss and stuff growing on your roof. Or when they get really old and there's a risk of them falling over near a house, it costs a fortune to get them taken down. That can be a problem.
Right. I can see that being a nuisance.
Yeah, and I'm dealing with that myself right now. I live on a heavily treed lot, and I'm surrounded by large, tall trees that all need a pretty good clipping. But the price to have an arborist come out and like remove trees or even go up and trim them, it's way higher than people would think. Things that are way more expensive than people would expect is one is dealing with trees. Second thing is installing patios. Like if you want to replace or install a patio, the price is so much more than you would ever expect. And the same goes for driveways. Anything to do with driveways or retaining walls drives me nuts. And these are things that generally you don't get a lot out of. Like putting a new driveway on, it's not like you're excited, like, oh, like this is a great new driveway to drive up. But it's like half a year's salary to get this thing done.
Yeah, or a fence. You want to get a fence put in, that's going to cost you $40,000, $50,000.
Yeah, good one. I never thought of that. I guess patio and fence, they're different, but they kind of cut from the same cloth. A wooden cloth.
Sure, yeah. An awful wooden cloth that will scrape and claw you when you try to wipe yourself with it.
We're going to start working our way towards our second and final break. But before we do, I have a great piece of listener mail that I want to share here. This is a listener named Tylo. You ever hear the name Tylo before? I think it's spelled Tylo.
Tylo? No, that's new to me.
It's new to me as well. But a listener named Tylo was calling in response to some of our discussions recently about keeping a cat in a harness. Tylo is supportive of cats in harnesses, but they're not so sure about some other animals being brought out into public. This is Tylo's story of going on a date with a pigeon.
Hello, Handsome Aaron Airport and Bus Stop Backhoe Bonaparte. It is your faithful correspondent, Tylo, from originally Winnipeg, but reporting live from Ottawa at the moment, and having a think about what animals I'd like to see on harnesses in the wild. And while I have a dog and my sister has 3 cats, I am pretty used to seeing those animals out and about. But there are some animals that just don't belong in any establishment, and I have to draw a hard line on anything other than cats and dogs because I was forced to go on a date with a bird one time. For the purposes of keeping this recording as short as possible, I was on a date at the Moon Room in Ottawa, and my date brought their pet bird because they said that they couldn't leave it alone because they had just rescued it. And what kind of bird was it? A pigeon. It was a pigeon. And that is the story of how I found myself on a date with a pigeon. If you want me to send you a video, I do have some video evidence. But you're probably wondering how the staff of the Moon Room reacted. And let me tell you, shockingly, they were all right with it. The bartender brought the bird some nuts and water, and it was pretty much like a giant segment of Animal Planet or Zaboomafilm even, with everyone in the restaurant just pandering to this bird. Yeah, there are some animals that should just never, ever, ever be allowed in public establishments. Thank you.
Wow. I'm not as curious to see like video of it or hear how the staff reacted to it. I'm curious if she gave the person a second date.
That's exactly what I was wondering too, if that was the only date that they went on.
She didn't mention like I'm now married to them. So I think like and when you hear like I rescued this bird, I'm going to bring the bird along on a date, I would assume this cool like parrot that can talk and do cool tricks and stuff. A pigeon at a restaurant doesn't do it for me.
Well, if you're on a date with Mike Tyson, it would make more sense because Mike Tyson is known for befriending pigeons.
Yeah, that's true. He's like a pigeon trainer. And I know people get right into pigeons and that's cool, but generally it's not like they bring the pigeons with them. This is like those pigeons will live in like little boxes and stuff. But to actually bring it along with you because you can't leave it home alone, that just screams we maybe won't have a second date.
That just screams, I'm 100% going to put my pigeon before you in every circumstance.
Yeah. So I assume that was the end of it, but it's Well, it's a cool experience. Everyone has like odd dates they've been on. I've never heard of someone actually bringing a pigeon along. So
It would be great if we got a Keep Canada romantic voicemail of somebody who owns pigeons, and then we could connect them with Tylo.
well, we get Tylo to get us in touch with the person who had the pigeon.
Or we could do it that way too. Yeah, we really want to make a really good connection and keep Canada romantic at some point in time, and maybe pigeons is the bridge.
It could be. But since we're on the topic of animals and cats were mentioned in that voicemail, let's take a quick break. And when we get back, we'll have one of the stranger missing cat stories we've ever covered on Keep Canada Weird. We'll get into the curious case of Torbo, the missing cat, after this short break. Handsome Aaron Airport, let me tell you about the curious case of Torbo, the missing cat. A British Columbia couple has been plagued by phone calls about a missing cat. For over a year, they fielded daily calls from strangers across the United States offering to return the cat in exchange for the promised reward. The problem is, this BC couple, their cat wasn't missing, and their cat wasn't named Torbo. Here's the curious case of Torbo, the missing cat.
Over the past year or so, our next guest has had a lot of phone calls that sound like this.
Hi, I think I might have found your cat, Torbo. Just give me a call back. Thank you.
Hey, I think I found your cat, Torbo. Call me back.
Now, that would be great news, of course, if you had a missing cat named Torbo. The thing is, Natasha Lavoie's cat, the name is Mauser, and is not missing. But for more than a year, she's been receiving dozens and dozens of phone calls just like this. And Natasha has just recently gotten to the bottom to the mystery of it all.
I just started receiving all of these random calls from the States. And I'm like, why am I getting a call from Albuquerque? I have nobody that I know in Albuquerque. And it just continued on and on and on. And every day, sometimes like 6 times a day, I'm getting these really random phone calls and people leaving me voicemails saying that they've found my cat and they want money for my cat. And I'm like, my cat's at home in the air conditioning. And finally, I think earlier this week, Jonathan answered the phone and he's like, why are you calling this number? It's 11 o'clock at night. And they were kind enough to let us know, hey, your number is actually on a t-shirt that I bought. And lo and behold, well.
So sure enough, after we hang up the call, a couple minutes later, he sends us some Instagram link to a page. And it's some company with this missing cat poster line of shirts with Natasha's number on it. And I believe there were some with somebody else's number on it that we never called. And I'm like, why would you use a real number? So first thing we did was try to contact them on Instagram. And we did get a reply just saying like, hey, yeah, sorry about using your number, but we're not making that shirt anymore.
They only replied once, said it was a promotional
limited run.
Yeah. And from there, that was basically the end of their responses. I asked them if they could do something about the the photos that they have posted online of this promotional run, and they ghosted me pretty quick.
That story brings up so many questions right off the bat. Why would you want a shirt with like a fake missing cat poster on the front of it? That just seems like a weird fashion choice.
It's a very weird fashion choice, but random things on t-shirts has always been like, there's an irony to it. There's something about you wear it and it's like you care that you don't care or something. It's hard to explain, but t-shirts have always been this way to kind of, for you to say the opposite of what you actually want to say.
Okay, maybe I see this akin to like wearing a shirt for some random gas station. It just evokes this feeling of being on the highway in your car, this sort of thing. Wearing a shirt with a missing cat poster, to me, it would give me a feeling of like pity, desperation, longing for something you love. It's just not something I would want on my shirt. I want my shirt to have something on it that makes me feel good. A band I love, a movie I love, it's my favorite color, or it's, just something that makes me feel good and says a little something about who I am. I can't imagine what personality trait you would be trying to communicate with a missing cat poster. For a non-existent cat with somebody's actual phone number on there offering a reward, it just seems so complicated.
It's complicated, but I remember when we were in our late teens, early 20s, we were really obsessed with going to Value Village, the secondhand clothing store, and buying like uniform shirts.
Yeah.
Like janitors uniform shirts, coffee shop uniform shirts.
Yeah.
Like we were obsessed with wearing uniform shirts.
Yeah, it's true.
And we never worked at these places. We never had aspirations to work at these places, but there was just, at the time in the late 90s, there was just something very cool about wearing a uniform shirt to a place that you don't work at.
Yeah, okay, I get it. But even still, like, to be like, I defy convention. I'm not going to follow your fashion. I'm going to wear this random Wendy's employee shirt instead of a Tommy Hilfiger shirt. That has a bit of a social statement being said. But to wear a black shirt with a missing cat poster on the front, offering a reward and having someone's phone number on there, I still don't get it. I don't see any social statement. I don't see any fashion statement. It's just a shirt that if some company did make it, sure, there's someone out there who would want it for whatever reason, but I wouldn't think they would have sold enough of them that the poor family who owns that phone number is getting like up to 6 calls a day for a year of people trying to cash in the reward for Torbo, the non-existent missing cat.
I think the way you're reacting to it now is how somebody wearing the missing cat shirt would want you to react. So they want you to wonder, like, why are they wearing a shirt for a missing cat? Like, that doesn't make any sense. What are they trying to accomplish? And all of these questions that are running through your mind is exactly what they want in terms of a response from someone who sees them wearing the shirt, because then you're starting to care about what they're wearing, and then they get to have this card played over you of, yeah, people care about my shirt because they're wondering why the hell I'm wearing this shirt.
Let's talk this part out, though. People walking by these people wearing this shirt, it seems, are reading it like a missing persons poster, a missing cat poster, and are actually seeing a cat, calling up, trying to say, we found your cat and I want the reward. For that to happen, let's say if you're walking down the street and you see someone and they're wearing a missing cat shirt and you assume it's actually trying to raise awareness of this missing cat, you would talk to them about it or something. You'd say, like, can I write down the phone number from that shirt? I thought I saw that cat. Like, you'd think there'd have to be some kind of conversation. The more I think of this story, the only possible explanation I have for this phenomenon is that a bunch of people who had the shirt decided to just prank the person at that phone number by calling and trying to, I don't know, just create trouble. Like, I can't imagine random people were seeing the shirt, seeing a cat that they thought was the cat on the shirt, calling it up without anyone having a conversation where the person wearing the shirt said, I actually bought this online.
Right. No, I don't think it was ever people who were on the street seeing someone wearing that and then calling in. I just assumed that it's like a friend of somebody who owns the shirt.
Messing
and they're
with
like, oh, dude, I'm going to call it. Like that kind of a thing.
Yeah, and maybe they then posted about it online or something, and other people get
Right.
caught on, because she said in the news clip she was getting like up to 6 calls a day. So I think the mystery of why the shirt was made and who would wear it, we can't agree on that. Then the mystery of why people are calling and trying to cash in this reward, I believe that to be the result of pranksters, possibly connected to the puberty problem.
Yeah, the puberty problem, I would say, if you were to get the ages of these people, you're looking at 14 to 18 years old. The puberty problem is real. We're still batting around ideas for another name of the puberty problem. But as of right now, officially, it's still called the puberty problem.
And for anyone new to the show, the puberty problem is the name, the current name we're using to describe the trend of teenaged people across Canada misbehaving at rapid pace and in increasingly more severe ways. The puberty problem. Trademark.
Yeah.
You want to get to our final story of the night and maybe tied with what tree for my favorite story of the night?
Let's do it.
This is a unique one. We talk a lot about senior citizens. We celebrate their love for ice cream and we explore their habits related to ice cream. But one thing we never really narrowed in on is the actual act of retiring and becoming one of those senior citizens that sit around eating ice cream. We have a story related to a retirement, and it's not just any retirement. It's the retirement of a man who may very well be Canada's most faithful, loyal, and beloved grocery store employee. After nearly 50 years of service, grocery store employee Rob Robinson of Annapolis Royal, Nova Scotia, is finally retiring. Let's listen in as CBC celebrates Rob's retirement, and I'd like to talk to you about if every retiree should get this kind of treatment in the mainstream media. Here comes the story of Annapolis Royal's best employee, Rob Robinson.
Rob is probably one of the friendliest, nicest people you could ever meet. He always comes in with a smile on his face. Comes in, does his job. Loves to talk to the customers, and I think he knows just about everybody in Canfield by name, and just being here for that many years.
What are you going to miss most about the job?
Customers. I won't miss the work. These hard floors are a killer on the feet. Your back, your shoulders, it takes a toll on yourself. But yes, I'll miss the people. I've seen a lot of people, I've seen a lot of changes. We went from paper bags in the 70s to plastic bags, now back to paper bags. I remember the days when I started. You stamp the product and you'd put the stamp on the cans. But when there's a price change, you had to go get a knife and pull all those stamps off the cans. It got a little too much.
How else has it changed? What's different about when you started and now?
Prices. When I started, bread was probably 50 or 60 cents a loaf. Now look at it. It's what, $3.50 a loaf?
What did that mean to you to do something for so long?
I'm just proud of what I did. I stuck it out.
You stuck it out, Rob.
Yeah, stuck it out.
Those kind of news clips, that's my favorite kind of news. That's like slow news day gold.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Did you find what he was saying interesting at all?
Yeah, I found it interesting. And I wish everybody retiring, if you work somewhere for 50 years and it's your last day, I think the news should show up there and interview you about it.
Okay. So what's a dentist retires?
I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
But actually,
so what's changed since you started doing dentist stuff?
Well, I'm sure.
Well, let me tell you,
we got to wash the tools now.
The patients got older. Yep. Some of them come in and they were 5 years old, and then 30 years later, they're God knows what.
What I liked about Rob Robinson, though, is he does it. He loves the people, doesn't like the job. The floors are hard. Everything's a pain in the ass, and he stuck with it. I like that he used that kind of term. Like, I stuck with it. Like, he checked in every day on time. He checked out a couple minutes late, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Putting in a bit of extra time, saying hi to people, kissing babies.
Right.
Like, Rob Robinson is where the rubber meets the road in Canada, I think. Guys like this.
There's a lot more going on to this story than I think is, on the surface. All right. Oh yeah. There's a lot happening.
Give me a glimpse. What did you see?
Okay. Well, there's the dynamic between the manager and Rob. The retiree.
Okay. The manager that kind of introduces it. Like everybody knows him.
Everybody knows him. He talks to everybody. He's always talking to the customers. So how often do you think there's boxes and boxes and boxes of unsorted stock just piling up in the middle of the grocery store, and Rob is off chit-chatting away about, we used to have brown bags and then we went to plastic bags and now we're back to brown bags again. But Rob, get back to work, man.
Yeah, I could see that being an issue.
Oh, it's a definite issue. I can tell. Like the manager was happy. The way he was talking about Rob was very happy because he's so happy that Rob is finally retiring.
Yeah, I'm happy for Rob and I'm happy for us too.
Yeah. I can't wait to get a spring chicken in here to just stack these shelves for me, for God's sake, in a timely manner.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I have a feeling Rob Robinson's numbers leave a little bit to be desired, but what he lacks in efficiency and go-get-itness, he makes up for in knowing everybody's names and just being like the nice, friendly, smiling face down in the produce section.
Okay, now imagine this scenario here.
Okay.
Right? So you leave the house and you have family over and there's something that you need at the grocery store. You got to get in real quick. You got to get in and out. It's like, okay, I'll go and get the milk. I'll come back and then you can finish making this so that we can have everything ready for the barbecue. Right? But I got to go right now. So I go and I drive down to the grocery store and I'm sprinting into the store and I just got to grab the milk and then I got to get out and oh my God, it's Rob. Oh no. Oh, let me tell you something. You're going for the milk there, eh? Well, we used to have the stickers. We used to have the little stickers, and every single piece of product had to have a little sticker on it. You had to put the sticker on, and then guess what? The price changes, and we got to peel every little sticker off. And oh my God! And the brown bags, they're back. They're back.
Oh, I'm going to be here all night with this guy.
I know, and God bless his heart. I'm sure. Obviously loves to chat to the customers, but Rob also has to pick his battles, when read the room, what's my manager thinking? How behind am I on my stock right now, on my produce? Is this customer giving me some body language that makes them feel like they don't want to talk to me right now?
Yeah.
But I think Rob pushes down all of those social and professional boundaries and just talks at you no matter what.
That's true. This CBC News story was very pro Rob. I think there should be a follow-up with interviewing some of the customers who are like, every time I go in there, if I see him, I go the other way because the last thing I want to do in the middle of grocery shopping is get in a conversation about the history of this store.
That's right. And there's one final point I want to make about Rob. Rob Robson. It sounds made up to me, right?
It does.
I don't know.
Maybe it's an alias. It's his grocer name.
No, this guy dropped a former identity in a former life. And this is his new identity that he's been living as a produce man for, God knows how long. And so what's Rob hiding? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. All this said, I tip my non-existent hat to Rob Robinson and people like him. They are what make Canada what it is, I think. Salt of the earth, Rob Robinson. Good luck in retirement, buddy. I wish I had have shopped at your grocery store. I would have chatted with this guy. Some days.
Yeah.
There are some days I would have been really upset that someone talked to me. You go to a coffee shop and you're like, hi, I'll have a medium coffee with cream and sweetener. And they're like, that'll be $45, sir.
Yeah.
Like, I will strangle you here today if you don't give me it.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Anyway, we got to start wrapping up the show, but we've gone through a couple voicemails. I got another one here that we'll end with. This is a message from Christine, who wants to tell us a little bit about her thoughts on bringing cats outside. And not just any cat, the cat that she got drunk and bought one time. Here comes Christine's story.
Hey guys, it's Christine from Montreal. You were talking about having cats on a leash. I got a cat last year. It was the best drunk purchase I ever got, especially for someone who's allergic to cats. Anyways, He's very cute, and he is a great addition to the family. We love him. But I couldn't imagine the cat spending his entire life indoors. I thought that was kind of sad and inhumane. So we sit outside, my dog sits outside, and our cat sits outside. And he's a neighborhood attraction. There's the neighborhood little girls who come and play with him every day. He stands up to all the big dogs that walk past and all of that. And yeah, have a great day. Bye.
Nice story. I'm glad she's able to bring her cat out and enjoy life outside with her cat, and I'm glad that the neighbors' kids appreciate it. But what I want to know in this story is, how do you end up like getting drunk and buying a cat? Generally, there's a bit of a process to it. When I got my dog, I had to jump through so many hoops to get that dog. I get buying something on Amazon when you're drunk and not thinking straight, but a cat?
So where are you drunk where you can get a cat? Like, it's not like they're not like hot dog vendors outside of a bar. Where did she get the cat while she was drunk?
Very like, was she walking home from a bar and stumbled into a pet store?
Well, we've heard of people walking home drunk on this show and breaking into bakeries and stealing butter tarts.
Yeah, that's been a thing. And
we've covered a story like that before. So maybe she broke into the SPCA and stole a cat.
Yeah, because it's, to get a cat online, I guess. Yeah, I'm thinking of Amazon. You press a couple clicks, you get something. A reputable cat adoption place doesn't offer service like that, but there are things like Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace. I think you can adopt cats on those. Could she maybe have opened up her Facebook Marketplace or her Kijiji app and saw a cat and said, like, I'll be right by.
And I'll be totally sober when I get there.
That's just an intro. Well, that was the part of that voicemail that was interesting to me. I've just never, I've heard people making dumb decisions when they're drunk. I've made a few myself, but I've never adopted a cat.
I'd like to hear more of the story of connecting the alcohol to the purchase of the feline.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to know. Christine, if you're still listening to the show, please send us another voicemail. Not so much about, the cat and being outside and your neighbor's kids. Tell us the story about how you got drunk and adopted a cat. That's the story we need to hear. Don't hide that.
That's the meat and potatoes of the story here that we really need the details of.
Absolutely. Well, it's about the end of the night, Aaron. We're going to start wrapping up, but we're going to start wrapping up this episode. But before we do, let's plug Keep Canada Weird mailbag number 7. We're just about to record it. We're just about to release it. Is there anything you want to say about the mailbag series?
The mailbag series is excellent. It's a chance to hear all of the voicemails that we do not play on a regular Keep Canada Weird episode. So if you subscribe to the Nighttime Podcast Premium subscription or the Keep Canada Weird standalone feed, you are able to hear the mailbag episodes. So
that's absolutely right. And we generally, like, when we record the weekly Weird News Roundups, we usually include, 2 or 3 max correspondent voicemails, but we get a lot more than that. We save them all up and we air them in the mailbag episodes. And they're a lot of fun. They're looser than the regular episodes. It goes in all different directions. People dig it. So if you subscribe to the Nighttime Podcast Premium feed or the standalone Keep Canada Weird feed, you can get all that bonus content. Keep Canada Weird mailbag number 7 will be out probably 2 days after this episode's released, and I'm excited to record it with you after we wrap up tonight.
Excellent.
And I also want to say, for anyone out there, if you want to send us a voicemail, go to nighttimepodcast.com/contact. You can send it there, and if your voicemail is aired on this show, the weekly Weird News Roundups, or the mailbag, you qualify for a Keep Canada Weird correspondence badge and swag pack that can be sent to you. To claim and redeem your swag pack, go back to nighttimepodcast.com/contact, and you can fill out the web form that's there where it'll ask for your name, what episode you were in, and your mailing address, and we'll send it right out to you. Let's put a bow on this episode. I think we're done.
I agree with you.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Until next time, listen to this weird voicemail I actually just got about an hour ago.
the next day, I heard some weird things on my walkie-talkie. It didn't sound like English, but I'm pretty sure one of them said, "I got a waffle."
I what? What did she say?
I dot a waffle. It sounds like a little kid saying like some weird stuff about their walkie-talkie. It was an anonymous voicemail, no email or nothing. I don't know what was up with that. So until next time, think about that.
Well, and Jordan, until next time, let's go dot some waffles.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. If you got a news story from your area that you'd like to share with us, or have any thoughts or theories or opinions on anything we discussed tonight, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact us by using the voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And on that topic, I want to give a big thank you to this episode's correspondents. If your voice message was aired tonight, you can email me your address. My email is nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll get a Keep Canada Weird badge and swag pack sent out to you. I just ask that you wear the badge proudly and responsibly. Next, a big thanks goes out to Aaron for another great night, Nicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data for the outro version of O Canada. And then, of course, a sincere and massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening. Your support makes this show possible. And if you'd like to support the show even more, please consider a subscription to the premium feed, which can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/subscribe. The premium feed costs just a couple dollars a month, but that money will fund the creation of new episodes of the show, and it'll give you those episodes 2 days early, ad-free, and access to a back catalog of episodes. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media. That helps a lot too, and it's free. Your support is very much appreciated. So with all that said, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and together, let's keep Canada weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.
No, that didn't happen.
Where'd the tree go?
What tree?